So in this session, we'll be setting up a development machine. In organizations, we have multiple environments. One is dev environment, then we have UAT environment, then pre-prod and many more. And the final one is production. So we are here going to set up a development machine. We'll feel like we are a developer and we'll be having a code on this development machine. Later on, we'll be pushing our code onto our newly created repositories or the multiple repositories that we'll be creating in the course of time. So for the development machine, I mean going for a virtual machine. So I am in this AWS console. The virtual machines are known as EC2 here. So since I am using the free tier account provided by AWS that is available for 12 months and with certain limitations, well, you can easily create one AWS free tier account. You just need to have one email ID, one verifiable mobile number, and a credit or a debit card. How to create AWS free tier account? You can easily go through the AWS documentations on the AWS website. Later on, you can follow my lecture how to create the instances or the VMs or the EC2 machines for our project. So here I'll be going to create one dev machine of Ubuntu flavor. Let's select this Ubuntu 18.04. Select this one. We are going for the free tier one, that is t2.micro, with virtual CPUs as 1 and the memory as 1 GB only. Okay, then leave all these things as such. We are not concerned with this, and let the root volume be 8 GB only. We need not to change anything. So here I'm just entering the tag. It's like by what name I want my EC2 machine to be launched as. So I'm writing the name as dev machine. That's for development machine. So this is the security groups page. Here I can allow like which port I want to open and like on which port I want to add rule. Like we have multiple rules here. So for the current time being, I just need only SSH port only. Let's delete this rule. So it's fine, like I'm going for the port 22, that's for SSH, and I'm allowing everyone to have access to this port 22 on my VM. I'm allowing, so here I'm allowing in the source as 0.0.0.0 with subnet of 0. That means anyone over the internet can access my machine. Well, it's a very high vulnerable system, but it's like since we are going for one project setup, so it's like we can go ahead with this open source. But for production setups, it is highly required to determine like which port wants access to which set of IPs. Like here we have multiple options. We can go for a custom value. I can enter the IP range on which I want the access, then for anywhere, that's what in my case, and then my IP, like for my IP only. So it's like this server will be accessible from my IP only. For our project, I'm going for anywhere. It is also giving me one warning for that. So this is the summary. I'm going for the launching. So this is the key page. Here I need to create one key pair. If I have already, I can go for that one. But in your case, you'll be required to create a new key pair. Just download the key that you are preparing here. Just write the key pair name and then press this download key pair. And do not forget to download it because AWS gives only one time chance to download the key pair. Okay, I'll be going with the existing one. It's by the name DevOps. So I'm going to launch this instance. Once the instance is live, I'll be going to test our Git setup, whether it's properly working or not. Let this machine get launched. We'll wait for some time. So it's up now. So here are some sort of values here. It's like it's our IPv4. That's the address on which we'll be doing SSH. Then we have private IPs. Then we have other related information. You can easily go through this. These are the root devices and the different things. Okay, let's pick this IP. So we need one SSH client since I am using a Windows machine. So I'll be using MobaXterm. You can use PuTTY as well. And if you are on a Linux machine, then you can simply go to your terminal and directly SSH onto your machine. So just pick up this public IP. I'll be opening. So just pick up this public IP Let me open one session here. Let's go for SSH. Let's paste the IP here. So the default username is Ubuntu for the Ubuntu machine that we have launched in AWS. Going for this key. Okay. So here we are on our Ubuntu machine now. Let's create one directory for a git check. I'll say like git check. Let's cd into this git check. Let's initialize the git. So it's like we have initialized empty git repository in this path. Let's create some file here. I'll say like sudo nano. I'll say like testing git. Okay, it's my first file. Well, it's like I'm creating one random file here. Let's save the file. Let's check the git status, what is happening. So it's like the file that we have created is in untracked state. I need to first track it down. I'll use git add a. Let's rerun the command. So it's like file is in a staging area. I need to commit it. So I'll be going for a commit, git commit -m. I'll say message like it's my first commit. Okay, so it has been committed. Now rerun the git status. You can see nothing is there to commit. Now if you can remember the GitHub repository that we created there, they were showing some series of commands. Okay, let me show you. Yep, it's our repository. So it's like they were showing on a new repository that we created here. So what are the things that are required to, push our code on this command line or push our files to this command line. So we have initialized the directory, we have added the file that we have created, then we have did the first commit. Now we need to add one remote. By remote I mean which is pointing to this GitHub directory. Let's copy this thing and I'll be adding one remote. So it's like git remote add, origin is the name of the remote, then just paste the address. So it has been added. Now I'll be going to push the file that I have created in my local git push -u origin and in the branches master. So they'll be going to ask a username and a password. Okay, so you should remember what is the username and password of your git repository. You can even write the email address in the username section or the username that you picked up. Well, I'll just show you. So if you can see, I have this DevOps 101 lab as the username and my email ID is different, so I can use any one of them. Let's get back to there. So let's push the code again. Okay, so I need to enter the username. So I'll be going for the email ID aws101 tutor@gmail.com, and then I need to enter the password. Okay, so you can see total 3. Okay, so everything has been pushed now. We'll get back to our GitHub repository and we'll check whether this file testing it is present there or not. Okay, so we are in this GitHub repository. Let me refresh it. If you can see, we got this file here with the message that it's my first commit. Let's open the file. So this is the message that I have written there. So this is how we have tested our GitHub repository. So it's perfectly working. In the next section, we'll be going for the code that we'll be using in this DevOps project. So we'll be setting up the code in our dev machine, and then we'll be pushing the whole code in this GitHub repository. So we'll be creating another GitHub repository in the next section, and then we'll be pushing up the code.